मिरान्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपदान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कवितां शाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकि कोकिलम्। वाल्मीकिर्मुनिसिंहस्य कविता वनचारिणः शृण्वन् रामकथानाथं को न याति परमां गतिम्। वेदवेद्ये परे पुंसि जाते दशरथात्मजे वेद प्राचेतसा दासीत् साक्षात् रामायणात्मना। अंजनानंदनं वीरं जानकी शोकनाशनं कपीशमक्षमन्तारं वन्दे लङ्काभयङ्करम्। मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियां बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूथमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शिरसा नमामि। आञ्जनेयमतिपाटलानां काञ्चनाद्रिकमनीयविग्रहं पारिजाततरुमूलवासिनं भावयामि भवमानन्दनं। यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र गतमस्तकाञ्चलिं बाष्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकम्. So welcome once again to the evening session of this great epic called as Ramayana, where we are discussing Ayodhya Kanda. In fact, we are progressing quickly and fastly, though that is debatable. Many of you might feel we are going very slow and ultra slow. But if you look at the number of sargas that we are skipping in between just to keep the narration moving, it is understood that the pace is quite fast. The real pace of reading Valmiki Ramayana is when we go sarga after sarga. 7,000 verses are there in Ayodhya Kanda, around more than 60, I guess, lagbag around say 119 sargas are there in Ayodhya Kanda. So at least if we take one sarga a day, it will take 119 days just to speak about Ayodhya Kanda. Nevertheless, we do not have that time. In Kali Yuga, the patience is very less. And it is said in Srimad Bhagavatam that Manda Sumanda Madayo Manda Bhagya Upatrita. One of the greatest blessings that speakers like me have is that this verse, Manda Sumanda Madayo Manda Bhagya Upatrita. Because when I speak Srimad Ramayanam, after some days, when I say, you remember, I spoke in Balakanda, some people will shake their heads saying yes, some people will shake their heads saying no. Because it's a tendency in Kali Yuga that Parikshit Maharaj or Sukdev Goswami says to Parikshit Maharaj, Manda Sumanda Madayot, people are generally dull headed. Now he's telling it for people like me also. That we are generally dull headed because we forget what we hear. We are not like the Bharadwaja Rishis who understand and hears everything and who are Shrutiganas. Once we hear, we remember entirely. So we are not like that. So it is very difficult for us to remember. So, but that adds as a flavor for us speakers because after 2 3 days, when we come back and speak the same topic, everybody feels it is new. But nevertheless, our scriptures are also like that. Navayovanam cha. It is always fresh. Every time you pick up Valmiki Ramayana and you read Valmiki's Ramayana, it is fresh and it has bountiful amount of information and infotainment and entertainment to be given to us. In fact, it is a pity that many people pick up books like Harry Potter and many others because they feel that the charm and the beautiful stories are more wonderful to read, and the children are captivated by it. It has not even 1% value, and at the same time, it doesn't drive home the maturity and the value systems that we want the children to learn from. So, hence, it becomes very pertinent and it becomes very important that we learn the scriptures at the right source, at the right place, and we learn the scriptures and the maturity from such books. So it's a great boon that many of us hear and forget. Only that means that we have to hear it again and again and again. So that is why we are uploading all these videos on YouTube. You might have seen the series coming one after the other. I tried the maximum to put these videos on YouTube. Sometimes I go back and hear it myself. Not that I would like to see how I rendered the lecture. I commit mistakes. I am bountiful to commit a lot of mistakes. This is one of the first times that I'm trying to give the entire Ramayanam to the depth that I would like to give. So always first times has mistakes. So kindly excuse me for the mistakes that's being committed. But however, I try my level best that this is the way the purification happens. We fall down, we learn, people point out our mistakes, they tweak our ears, and then we learn. We are not the person who have written this great kavya or poem. It is Valmiki himself. So we are at the mercy of Valmiki so that he can bless us, so that we can even attempt to speak 1/10 of what he wants to tell us. So with that, Valmiki has been narrating very beautifully. In fact, it is wrong to say Valmiki has been narrating. If you go back many, many lectures, there are two beautiful boys who have tamburus, who have venas in their hand, and they are speaking these verses and narration right at the court of Ayodhya. Please don't forget this. Every time you hear Ramayan, just imagine when you go to sleep, whatever you heard today, that how would the audience would have heard it from the beautiful singers. I am not such a great singer. In fact, all these verses are poems and it can be sung in the most beautiful way. But I am not the greatest of the singers, so I cannot sing. But Lava and Kusha were the greatest of the singers, and they could sing it very beautifully, and they could hear it very wonderfully. So it is a great fortune for us. It's a great fortune for us to read these verses which are coming from Ramayan. So let us further see from where we left off. In the morning lecture, we saw that how the three personalities, who are the three personalities? Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana, all three of them have convinced each other, in fact, convinced Lord Ramchandra that they will tag along, they will come along to the forest. Sita, in fact, had the biggest, not the argument, she put forward her point of view very, very strongly. So much so that she called Rama Purushasya Striya Purusha Vigraham. Sorry, Purushasya Striya Vigraham, whatever that verse, where she says that you are actually saying you are a man, but you are in the form of a woman. And when Rama says, when he hears this, he says, okay, fine, you come along with me. And when they go across the palace, they see that somebody has caught hold of their legs, and it is none other than Lakshmana. And Lakshmana says, wherever you are, Ramchandra, I will be there. Because you know what? Without you, I cannot live. So, in fact, if you remember from the first Kanda, we have been speaking about Sharanagati or surrender unto the lordships. In fact, Ramayana's one other name is also called as Sharanagati Tatya. Tatya means fact. In fact, Ramayana is starting from Sharanagati, ending at Sharanagati. Sharanagati means surrendering unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Starting is when the Devas do the Sharanagati to the Lord Himself. Ending is after Rama Pattabhishekam, many Ayodhya Vasis also surrender. But principally, if we see, the starting is when the Devas do the Sharanagati unto Lord Ramchandra. And the second, we saw how Sushanepa in Balakanda, he does Sharanagati. We will speak about that pastime on some other day. Then we saw these two Sharanagatis were successful. But then we see Dasharatha doing a Sharanagati in Balakanda to Parashuram is unsuccessful because the right person, the Purna Avatar, is none other than Lord Ramchandra, whom the Sharanagati should have been directed towards. And now here in Ayodhya Kanda, we see the first Sharanagati which is done by Lakshmana by catching hold of the legs of Lord Rama and says to Mother Sita that Karishyami Sarvakaryaha. He will do all the work that whatever she wants him to do. So she agrees. So this is the other surrender that Lakshmana does. This surrender is successful. Why is it successful? Because here is a living entity. Though he is the Sheshatvam, he is actually the part and parcel of Anantashesh himself. Lakshmana is Anantashesh himself. However, he is showcasing the role of a Jivatma, that how we should surrender and serve the Lord. So here, when the living entity is actually falling at the feet of the Lord and saying that I am yours, please take me, the Lord cannot say no. So this is a perfect embodiment of surrender, and he is rejecting everything that is coming in this way and going after Mother Sita and Lord Ramchandra and seeking their refuge. So this becomes one of the greatest highlights. And all the three of them walked. When they walked, they wanted to go to Mother Kausalya's house, take the blessings. Mother Kausalya is very, very much in sorrow. She is having her grief to the highest limit. She says, Rama, I cannot bear it. Why don't you take me along with you? At that time, Rama says, who will take care of our father? He is also the one who is aging, and he's aging pretty fast, and he's aging pretty quickly. So there has to be someone who has to take care of him. So, Mother Kausalya, oh Mother, I wish that you please stay back and take care of our father. He again looks at Mother Sita and says, I think you should also stay back. And she says, how can you say that? You just told your mother that the perfect place for a wife is along with her husband. If the wife is not there along with her husband, that is not the greatest place. You just instructed this to Mother Kausalya. So isn't that applicable to me too? The way she says this is so nice that Mother Sita kind of is the first class devotee. Who is a first class devotee? Who is a first class person? Srila Prabhupada explains in his books. A first class person is the one when he sees examples in others and learns it by himself or herself. For example, when we are in a temple, looking at how our seniors are paying obeisances to the lordships and glorifying the spiritual master, we learn automatically. If we learn automatically how to do this act, that means we are learning from others' examples and we are learning ourselves. This is called as first class. The second class person is one who does not learn from others, but in fact learns from his own mistakes. For example, if somebody says, touching fire will get your finger burnt. When somebody else is touching the fire and we are seeing that his hands are getting burnt, then we should understand if we touch, our hands will also get burnt. That is first class. But if somebody says that happened to him or that happened to her, it may not happen to me. So they go out and they go and touch the fire. The best example in nowadays is given by Google and dictionary, which is called as COVIDiots. Who are COVIDiots? Even after repeatedly saying that people who go outside the lockdown and they roam around, they will get coronavirus. So many people are not heeding by the advice and they are going outside. This is absolutely second class because they feel it will not happen to me. But when it happens to them, will they learn? Some people learn. So if they learn, they are the second class people. Who are the third class people? The third class are, even if it happens to them, they don't learn from the mistake. They keep on doing the same kind of mistake. That is the third class. So Mother Sita is of the first class. She just heard from Ramachandra that he mentioned to Mother Kausalya that you should stay with the husband. She immediately internalized that message and she said, "You just told to your own mother that you should be there with your husband. So if that is applicable to my mother-in-law, why is it not applicable to me?" Rama said, "I have chosen the correct wife, so please come along with me." They walked on the path towards Sumitra's palace, where Sumitra was supposed to give the blessings to Lakshmana. Lakshmana tells Ramachandra, "I would like to take the blessings of Sumitra, my own mother." Rama says, "Please go immediately. Blessings are something that we should definitely take. This is one of the greatest messages in Ayodhya Kanda. And we should understand emphatically, and I would like to tell you that please internalize this again and again and again. One thing which can actually help us progress in Krishna consciousness quickly is blessings. As simple as blessings, falling at the feet of senior devotees again and again and requesting them, begging them to bless us. This seems like a very, very trivial matter. Seems like very cheap. It not nothing much has to be done. But if we serve that person and we ask for blessings and they give blessings from their heart, that will skyrocket us in the progress of Krishna consciousness. Hence, if you look at the scriptures at every juncture, every point of time, there is one thing which is common, that all the sages, when they meet their disciples, they will give blessings. Sukdeva Goswami, when he meets Parikshit Maharaj, blessings. Rama, when he now goes to the forest, he will ask for blessings from different sages. Different sages, when they meet the higher sages, they ask for blessings. When the kings meet the sages, they ask for blessings. When the Ayodhya Vasis meet the greatest sages, they ask for blessings. Dasharatha, when he meets Vishwamitra, he asks for blessings. Dasharatha, when he wants to coronate Ramachandra, he calls Vashishta and tells them to give blessings. Rama, when he wants to go to the forest, he goes to Kausalya and asks for blessings. Lakshmana, when he wants to go to the forest, he goes to his mother Sumitra and asks for blessings. We see that the blessings are the most important dynamic activity in Krishna consciousness. If there are no blessings, it might be on the subtle plane, but if there are no blessings, then success is not guaranteed. Krishna stays where there is auspiciousness and victory. This stays where there are devotees. That's why the last shloka of Bhagavad Gita is very clear. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdaraha. It doesn't remove Partha because he is a devotee. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdaraha, Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhutir Bhuvanitir Matir Mama. All these qualities are there wherever there is a Lord and his devotee. Nar and Narayan, if they both are there, only then we get all the auspiciousness. So it is very important to us to understand this philosophy. And hence Lakshmana immediately asks, "Can I go and ask my mother to come to take her blessings to go to the forest?" Rama said, "Please do not delay. Immediately go and take the blessings." So Lakshmana goes into the palace of Sumitra, and when she actually sees that Lakshmana has come, she immediately asks Lakshmana, "Why have you come here?" You should have not come here. In fact, you should have just gone directly to the forest. What is this blessings? My blessings are always there with you, child. In fact, you are delaying Lord Ramchandra and you are delaying Mother Sita. Please understand, O Lakshmana, if in the forest there is a forest fire which catches, and if it is going to burn your house, your hut, Mother Sita and Rama, first you should stand in between and tell Agni Dev that don't burn them, burn yourself. Which mother will say this? Sumitra is one of the highest philosophical and knowledgeable wife of Dasharatha. In fact, even higher than Kausalya. In fact, in the order, our Acharyas say one of the greatest philosophical and one was the most mature and one who was the most Krishna conscious was none other than Sumitra. That is why when Dasharatha wanted to share the kheer which came from in a golden pot with a silver lid, which we spoke about in Balakanda, the second share that had to be given, he thought that it has to be given only to Sumitra, and nobody contested in that opinion because she was one of the greatest philosophical wife that Dasharatha had. So Sumitra was such a great philosophical, mature, spiritual lady. But you might ask a question, how are you saying this? What is Valmiki saying? Valmiki showcases Sumitra's great spirituality by saying one very beautiful shloka which she tells to her son Lakshmana when he comes to take the blessings. What does she say? Let's hear the shloka. Ramam Dasharatham Viddi Mam Viddi Janakadatmajam Ayodhyam Atavim Viddim Gachatata Sukham. This is such a beautiful verse. When you read Valmiki Ramayana, this verse just comes as a normal verse. And I'll read this again. When you read this verse, it comes as a normal verse where a mother is speaking to a son. But Acharyas write commentaries on this verse in for many, many pages. What is the verse? Ramam Dasharatham Viddi. Ramam. Lakshmana, I am giving you this instruction. Please take this instruction to the heart. Yes, Mate, what is the instruction? The instruction is Ramam Dasharatham Viddi. Please from now onwards see Lord Ramchandra as Dasharatha. He is your father. This is the first instruction. Ramam Dasharatham Viddi. If you want to know in the forest who is your father, don't say you are D Lakshmana, Dasharatha Lakshmana, don't say. You are say R Lakshmana. Your father is from now onwards your elder brother Ramchandra. In fact, this is a very factual truth. If you have siblings, if you have elder brother, you will be able to relish this even more. And in my own personal case, I can relish this the utmost way. Because when the parents are not there, the person whom you depend on completely for your nourishment and everything, in this case, was Rama to Lakshmana. So elder brother who are spiritually conscious, they take care of their younger brothers just like a father does. So, in fact, it is said that sometimes, even when the father dies, people do not shed tears, but when the elder brother, something happens to him, people shed tears. That is because the elder brother or the eldest person is actually acting, not acting. In reality, he is giving his life so much for the younger ones. So, here Sumitra says, and these verses we have to read again and again. How will we develop good sibling relationships? If we have two children in the house, how do we want them to really not fight over property and duel and difference of opinions? By reading Ramayana, by reading these verses, by reading such instructions. When we read this again and again, it instills in our brain, how did Lakshmana act? How did Bharata act? How did Shatrughna act? So if they acted like that, okay, I am not as great as them, but can I actually walk in their path? Even if this thought comes in our mind, we are walking in the right way. So it is very important for us to read. So here Sumitra says, Ramam Dasharatham Viddi. Please consider Rama as Dasharatha. Mam Viddi Janakadatmajam. Mam Vidhi Janakatmaja. Janakatmaja means one who is the daughter of Janaka. Who is the daughter of Janaka? Mother Sita. She says, consider Mother Sita as Mam Atmajam. Consider her like your mother. So if you are missing Dasharatha and Sumitra, Dasharatha is Rama, Sumitra is Mother Sita. So Lakshmana is instructed here to see Mother Sita as a mother. And who is saying this? The so-called the step-in mother-in-law of Sita. Such were the great mother-in-laws who considered the daughter-in-law as equivalent as themselves. But nowadays at 9 p.m., when you put on the various different channels, there are only fightings between daughter-in-law and mother-in-law. And that is a Mahakavya in itself. Valmiki's Ramayana might end, but that mega serial will never end. And the story will be stuck only here. Daughter-in-law and mother-in-law, constant problems. And people are always in distress. So this is the story which is going on in many mega serials. But here that is not the precedence which is being shown. The precedence being shown here is she says, Mom with the Janaka Atmajam. Okay. Dasharatha is the father. Mother Sita is the mother Sumitra. Then what? Ayodhyam Atavim Vidhi. Consider the forest where you are going to go is none other than Ayodhya. So if you're missing the city, please understand you need not miss the city. Ayodhya is none other than the forest. Gachatata yata sukam tata, oh son, learning this, please depart happily. This is how happily Sumitra is sending Lakshmana. But do you know what? There is a hidden meaning in this shloka. What is the hidden meaning? Let us look at it very carefully once again. Ramam Dasha Ratham Vidhi. Dasharatham is the direct meaning. But one of the meanings of the word Dasha in Sanskrit also means Garuda, the eagle carrier of the Lord. Ratham is the charioteer. So Ramam Dasharatham Vidhi. That means, oh Lakshmana, please understand, this Ramachandra is none other than the one who travels on Garuda, keeping him as the chariot. Who is that? Lord Vishnu himself. So she is indirectly giving the most important message of Ayodhya Kanda. It comes as a regular shloka in one of the sargas. In fact, the 40th sarga it comes. Very beautifully she says. And then she says, Mom, as I said, Madhava, one who is having Mother Lakshmi. Ma means also Mother Lakshmi. So Ma with the Janakatmajam, Mom. So if Vishnu is there, who is on the other side? Lakshmi. Janakatmaja, Mother Sita is none other than Mam, Lakshmi. And then she says, Ayodhyam Atavim Vidhi. Ayodhya, we heard in the first lecture or in the introduction of Balakanda, when the camera zooms into Ayodhya, we said Ayodhya has many names. Aparajita, Ayodhya, Kosala Nagari, Kosala. So many city names we gave. Kosala kingdom's capital is Ayodhya. One of the name of Vaikunta is also called as Ayodhya. So the Dandaka forest is none other than Vaikunta. And in that Vaikunta, why don't you, Lakshmana, go very happily? What a wonderful verse where somebody says, please go to Vaikunta and render service unto Lord Narayan and Lakshmi. This is the verse that Sumitra is actually telling to Lakshmana. This beautiful verse, when Lakshmana hears, he understands. And you should understand the alter ego or the alter character in this place. Everybody is playing a pastime. And in the pastime, when somebody says this shloka, and Lakshmana immediately remembers the Vaikunta, what will be his ecstatic mood at that time? It is, he's supposed to exhibit grief and anger, but he hears that his eternal position is of Anant Shesh, and he is supposed to render the service unto Vaikunta. These are the hidden rasas which happens. There is a wheel, there is a curtain which is giving us one side of the shloka, and there is a pastime which is happening on the other side. Only the person who has got a scrutinizing eyes and the blessings of the acharyas will be able to see this wonderful rasa which is flowing in the Ramayana. And these rasas are very deep. So, like this, they took the permission and they walked. In the previous lecture, I said they walked in a formation. What was the formation? I said Rama in front, Sita in the middle, Lakshmana in the end, and I gave a verse also to it. Actually, this formation is going to come when they enter Aranyakanda, forest. But the actual formation that they walked from Ayodhya was Lakshmana in front, Sita in middle, Rama at the left, at the last. You might be thinking, what is the difference, Prabhuji? If Rama walked first or Lakshmana walked first, middle was Sita only, what is the big difference? Of course, the woman was protected by two security guards, one Ajanubahu like Rama in the front, one angry young man like Lakshmana in the front. Whether he was in the back or he was in the front, what is the difference? Valmiki says and Acharya says there is a difference. There was a reason why from Ayodhya, when they started, they formed this line. And when they went into Aranyakanda, they changed the line. What is the reason? The reason is Lord Rama is like the father, and his son is none other than Lakshmana, the Jivatma. And mother Sita is the one who is connecting the Paramatma and the Jivatma. She is the mercy companion. She is the mercy department. So Lakshmana is kept in the front and Mother Sita next and Ramachandra at the end, because from Ayodhya they are now going to enter into the forest, and in the first Ayodhya Kanda they are going to meet a lot of sages, they are going to meet a lot of devotees, they are going to meet a lot of good amount of people where they are going to enjoy the association. They are going to enjoy the beautiful rasas of association with these devotees. There is no fear component here. It's only happiness which is going to come, because when two devotees meet, it's only happiness that comes out. So when there is only happiness which is going to come, Rama says, my children should have all the happiness first. It's like saying, when you go into your friend's house and they have two children, and you came with a chocolate for your friend, if he is a real father, what he will do is he will tell the children to go and take the chocolate. Why? Because it is said that the father is happy when there is a happy moment, he becomes supremely happy when the children get the benefit of it. The children should also understand this. Whenever they are rushing to get the first thing and our parents are behind us, that means they are sacrificing their happiness for our happiness. They are sacrificing their pleasure so that we get pleasure. And looking at our pleasure, they get the maximum pleasure. And hence, it is our duty that when they become invalid, when they become difficult in moving around, we should sacrifice our pleasure and we should take care of them. Such is the learning on the simple arrangement of walking of Rama, Sita, Lakshmana. In this case, Lakshmana in front, Sita in the middle, Rama at the end. But why did they change, Prabhuji, when they actually went to Aranyakanda? The reason is, after meeting all these sages, they were about to meet the Rakshasas. Vibanda, Khara, Dushana, Maricha, Ravana, they were going to go on meet the enemies, and hence they had to change the position because the children have to be protected. Hence, what happened is Rama came right in the front and he said, you guys be behind. Now Rakshasas are going to come. I have to protect you, so I will stay in front. This is the beauty of Ramayana. Maduram Maduraksharam. Valmiki is not a simple poet. Valmikir Muni Simhasya Kavita Vanacharinaha. Who is Valmiki? Valmiki is that Vanacharinaha, that Harith, who was actually a hunter who, by the Saptarishis, he wrote this great epic called as Ramayana. And why did he write this? Because he got the blessings again from the Saptarishis. He got the blessings again from Narada. He got the blessings again from Brahma. So blessings is what in epitome is mentioned here. So in that way, all the three of them walked, and it is said that when everybody walked like that, there was the Ayodhya Vasis. They said, "Hamara train to chhoot gaya. We all came here for coronation, but seems like the person who is going to be coronated, they themselves are going away from the kingdom. So what is our role of staying here? Let us also follow them." So all of them packed their suitcases and they started following the three personalities. Ramachandra did not stop them. He was applauding the love and devotion of the Ayodhya Vasis. He was a true king. He knew many of them. He had gone and sat in their houses and learnt Vedic Shastras from them. He had helped many of the elderly people in those Ayodhya Vasi homes. He knew many by the names. And when they were following him with full Vatsalya, with full love and devotion, awe and reverence towards Lord Ramchandra, as if he is their own child, he did not stop them. He allowed them to travel along with them. And they all continued up to, they crossed many rivers. In Ramayana, the mention of those rivers are there. Many people will ask this question, Prabhuji, where are those rivers now? Those rivers need not be seen. We are day by day seeing some rivers are getting disappearing right in front of our eyes. Over the course of time, rivers change their directions. Some of those rivers have disappeared, some of them have merged into the main rivers. But it is said that Lakshmana, Sita, and Rama, all three of them crossed and they reached on the banks of Mother Ganges. When they reached the bank of Mother Ganges, everybody took a rest because it was a long walk from Ayodhya, crossing Sarayu, crossing all these places. Everybody was coming behind. Many people were giving galis to Bharata that because of him we have to walk so much. Because of that evil, crooked Kaikeyi, we have to walk so much. Rama was listening all this, but he was not replying to anybody. He was walking, 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 walking. And at the dead of the night, when everybody was sleeping, he tapped on Mother Sita and said, "It is time for us to go. Because these people, if the morning comes, they will follow us. All the 14 years, they will be following us. That is not what Kaikai wanted. We want some Praja for Bharata to rule. If we take the Praja also along with us, this is not the right way to do it." So he told Lakshmana, "Let us start." Mother Sita said, "What about GPS? If they find GPS and they come behind us, don't worry. It is a forest. Even today, GPS doesn't work in forest. We can go." So they all three started. They told Sumantra, "Please go back. Please go back and tell our father that these are the messages that we would like to give." The scene cuts from there. Immediately, the scene goes to the palace back again. And the palace scene is Dasharatha is grief. He's panting. Kaikeyi is internally happy that her boon has become a successful. But every now and then, Dasharatha is giving all the vicious words to Kaikeyi and saying, "Because of you, I think Rama has left." He doesn't stay in her palace, he goes and meets Kausalya. Kaushalya is also in the grief of the mother and the grief of father for Rama missing from the entire place are tumultuous in nature, and both are trying to console each other. Sumitra is also there. She also pacifies Kausalya up to a limit and she says, "Do not worry, your Rama will be back. Do not worry, Lakshmana is taking care. If not, our daughter in law, Mother Sita, is so wonderful, she will take care. Do not worry, do not worry." By hearing the words of Sumitra, it is said by Valmiki that Kausalya's grief came down as if the scorching heat is showered by autumnal showers. We'll all get to know when June hits us. This heat that we are facing, luckily we are in a lockdown, we are not going every day outside. But when the heat becomes unbearable and the first showers come, all the heat goes down. Such were the ardent words of Sumitra. Hearing that, Kausalya's grief slowly came down. Back in the palace, there were thinking about it, that what will happen next. Sumantra came inside carrying the message. And immediately Dasharatha said, Sumantra, you have come. Can you tell me, where did they sleep? He said, O king, let all glories be to you. I took them. They crossed the Ganges and they slept on the floor. On the floor. What about, didn't you give them silk beds? He said, I am not allowed to give them silk beds. They slept on the floor. Did my daughter-in-law, Mother Sita, she also slept on the floor? Yes, Maharaja, she also slept on the floor. What to speak of them? All the Ayodhya Vasis slept on the floor. Then Dasharatha was saying, why am I sitting on such a big cushion? I am such a wretched fellow. He was feeling like that. Okay, Sumantra, but tell me, did they actually send me a message? Did they give a message to me? Sumantra says, yes, Maharaj. Rama had the message for all three of you. All three of us? Who are the all three? Sumitra, Kausalya, and me? He said, no, Maharaj. Rama gave a message to you, O Dasharatha. Rama gave the message to Kausalya. And finally, Rama gave a message to Bharata. Then Dasharatha said, please tell Sumantra, I am waiting for this. In fact, I am sitting here just thinking about my apple of the eye, Rama. What is the message that he has come and given you? Can you please tell me? Then Sumantra says, very beautifully, he mentions. Sumantra says, first message is for you, Dasharatha. The message is, and Dasharatha is at the edge of his seat, waiting to hear what Rama is going to say. He says, I bow down to my father and I touch his lotus feet. Dasharatha says, this is normal. He does that every day. What else did he speak? This is the only message he has said. Message terminates here. SMS is over. I salute at the lotus feet of you. Dasharatha said, nothing. Kausalya, you ask what your son has given you the message. Kausalya says, what message did Rama give to me? He says, Rama told Kausalya, oh queen, the principal message that he said, please take care of father. He might be in grief, so please take care of him. What else did he say? Please do not show any anger towards Kaikeyi. This is the second message of Rama. Treat her how you would treat Sumitra. Treat her just on par how you would treat anybody else. This is my request. Please don't show anger. Look at the magnanimity of the person of Lord Ramchandra to the person who actually did all these faults. Rama is saying to his mother, please ensure that you do not show anger to Kaikeyi. And Kausalya said, okay. Dasharatha was still feeling very sad. At that time, Dasharatha asked, what was the message that he gave to Bharata? Can you tell me the message that he gave to Bharata? Sumantra said, yes. The message to Bharata was, Bharata, please rule the kingdom justly and take care of my mother Kausalya, just like you will take care of your mother Kaikeyi. This is the beautiful message that Rama gave. Nothing important. Dasharatha feels that this is not the messages that I wanted to hear. I wanted my son to be a little disobedient, to shout some galis to me and say, such a wretched father I have. I would have got little solace. But my son, I am so ashamed of him. He has become so obedient. He has become so nice that I told him, don't go. Still, he followed Matra Vakya Paripalanam. He went. So many people in our Shastra says Lord Ramchandra is so great because for father's Vakya Paripalanam, to keep the promise of his father, he went to the forest. But our Gaudiya Acharyas, they are also very wonderful. They mention Krishna is the one who follows the instructions of his mother. Prabhuji, when did he follow the instructions of his mother? His mother kept on shouting, don't go and steal makhan from other houses. He used to go. Rama being orthodox, he will only eat at certain places. He will not eat at other places. Krishna, don't even mention. He will go to every single house, not even ask who made it, whether offered or not, he will first eat. Such was Krishna. So where did he follow mother's instruction? This is why we have to read Srimad Bhagavatam. In Bhagavatam, when the Adbhuta Balaka appeared in the Karagraha, in the jail, and when he appeared with a four-handed form, Shank and Chakra, the beautiful four-handed golden Kaustubha money ornaments, and the great ornaments, gold earrings, jewels, and everything, and very resplendent, wonderful teeth on his mouth, the Acharyas say, mother was very frightened that Kamsa will come and see this golden Adbhuta Balaka is really the Krishna which was said by the Ashri Ravani, and because of which Kamsa will kill this eighth child of Devaki. And hence she requested, "O Lord, why don't you hide your two hands? And I know you have got very pomegranate like sweet anar jaise dant. You have got a very nice pomegranate like teeth. But no babies, when they are born, they have teeth. So, but you are born with the teeth, so beautiful they are. But can you please pluck them out for me and please be hidden?" So Krishna plucks them out and he throws them away because his mother asked him to hide the hands and pluck out the teeth. So our acharyas say, who is greater? Is Ramchandra the great, who at the age of 24 is following the father, or is Krishna great, who is at the age of zero, not even started day zero, he has come into the world and he is obeying his mother. Hence, Krishna is great. This is the greatest Siddhantas that the Gaudiya Vaishnavas actually relish in themselves. Our Alvars also say that. So beauty is there in both the Leelas, Krishna Leela and also Ram Leela. When we speak about Ram Leela, we will obviously speak about Lord Ramchandra's greatness. But when we switch to Bhagavatam, the nectarian mellows are different. We will have to give it to Krishna. That's why his fan following and in his Instagram following is a little larger than Lord Ramchandra's following. Everywhere you will find Krishna devotees more, but Ram Lalla's devotees are little lesser when you actually see. But Srila Prabhupada, he has been such a missionary that he has ensured that along with Sri Radha Ras Bihari, along with Sri Radha Madan Mohan, we are also planning a great Ram Darbar at many of these places. And these Ram Darbars, Prabhupada knew that Ramayan and Srimad Bhagavad, these are going to be the greatest epics. So Raja Dasharath said, these messages are anyway normal messages, Sumantra. Tell me, what did the daughter-in-law Mother Sita say? She would have said something very, very important. What did she say? And at that time, Sumantra said, Ashtapurva Vyasana Raja Putri Yashaswini Tena Dukkhena Rudati Na Eva Mam Kinchit Abravit Uddhikshamana Bhartaram Mukhena Parishushyata Mumocha Saha Bashmam Mam Paryam Tam Udikshasya Sa. Seeing me going back, when Sumantra was going back in the chariot to give these messages, the daughter-in-law Sita, she did not speak a word. She only wept. She only cried. She thought that I thought such a great, wonderful living I will have. But look at what has happened to me. At that time, she remembers. Remembers the very fact. What is she remembers? That she says that Rama, once when I was small, she got married when she was 6 years old. But she remembers when she was small, many hunters, sorry, not many hunters, she went into the forest with her maid servants to pluck flowers. At that time, there was an astrologer who came to her and she said, looking at the hand of Mother Sita, that she will spend 14 years of her life in forest. Seems like that is coming true, says Mother Sita. These are some snippets of stories which Valmiki gives it in flashbacks. So Mother Sita is saying, so don't worry, I already knew that the 14 years I will have to spend in the forest. So I kept a separate VIP suitcase in where all the forest entities for what is required for the forest, I have kept it very nicely in the suitcase. But when she saw Sumantra go back, he was such a wonderful minister and she didn't have any messages. She thought about the palace and everything and she only wept. Dasharatha could not even manage the grief which was hitting him. He was not worrying about Rama so much, but when he heard that what face I will show to Janaka, he felt very unhappy. Then Dasharatha looked up. What did Lakshmana say, Sumantra? He would have definitely said something. He is not the normal person. He is the angry young man. What did Dasharatha say? Can you tell me? And at that time, Sumatra said, yes, Raja, I have to tell you what Lakshmana said. Yes, please tell me. He said, Aham tavan maharaje pitritvam na upalakshaye bhrata bharta cha bandhu cha pita cha mama raghava bhata bharta cha bandhu cha pita cha mama raghava. He said, I do not consider the emperor of Kosala kingdom, who is Dasharatha, as my father anymore. When Lakshmana sent this as a message, please go and tell Dasharatha, he's not my father anymore. I am not the Lakshmana anymore. Dasharatha got very happy and he started sitting at the edge of the seat. Sumantra was bewildered. I am saying that you are not his father anymore. He's shouting at you. Why are you showing this excited expression? Then Dasharatha said, what else did Lakshmana say? Tell me once more. He said, O king, that you are not his father anymore. But he said, from now onwards, Rama is the brother, Lord, relative, and father. He is the everything. Bhrata, Bharta, cha bandhu, relative, cha pita, cha mama raghava. Rama is everything for him. Dasharatha clapped his hand. I told you, Sumitra, he is the boy. He is the actual boy of Dasharatha. I am so happy that he killed me, but he is considering Rama as everything. That is what I wanted to instill in him. And Lakshmana has got it 100% correct. Dasharatha had a little happiness in his heart because somebody scolded him, somebody rebuked him. No, because somebody was there with his apple of the eye who considered him as everything. This is the level of relationships of siblings that we should have in our family. Bhrata cha bharta cha bandhu cha pita cha mama raghava, says Lakshmana. He is everything for me. And when Sumantra said this, Dasharatha again felt into the agony. And when he felt into the agony, he says, it feels like, Kausalya, my eyes are going away. I cannot see anymore. I cannot see anymore. He says, Ata andakare to. He says a very nice shloka at this point of time. He says, Ata andakare tu ashausham jale kumbhasya paryata achakshur vishaye gosham varanasya iva nardataha. In fact, he says this shloka later, but first he says, seems like Kaushalya, my eyes are slowly giving away. My senses are going away. My eyes are going away because my eyes are going behind Rama himself. Why would somebody says that his eyes are going behind Rama? The senses are not supposed to talk. The senses are supposed to be in the place where they are. But here he is saying, my eyes are walking behind Rama. So when our senses go behind some personality, or when our senses are not functional in our body anymore, we should understand that when the senses are slowly starting to wither away, our time has come. Time has come for what? Time has come to leave this body and go into the next body. The time of death has arrived. So Dasharatha is indicating that, look, this time has come that I have to go. In fact, he says a very beautiful way also that there is generally five karmendriyas, five jnanendriyas, five bhutas, and five tanmatras. What are these? Generally, we know this that Akashat Vayuhu, Vayuhu Agnihi, Agnihi Jalam, Jalam Prithvi. Akasha, the sky, is first created. The five Bhuta elements: earth, water, fire, ether, sound, air, all of these. The first element is the sky. And the sky has only one quality, which is that is the quality of sound, Shabda. And how do we hear Shabda? From our ears. So if there is no sky, the frequencies, even today, the mobile phone, the ether, the frequencies travel by the sky. And there is a transmitter which captures. What does it capture? Sound. And hence we are able to speak on the phone. Nothing is different. We are just modifying the facts which are given in the Vedas. Akasha, the sky is sound. From Akashas comes Vayu, air. What does Vayu does? It has two qualities. It has sound, and also plus it has one more quality. When Vayu hits us, when the wind hits us, we feel touch. So Vayu has two qualities: sound and feel, touch. So for touch, what do we have? We have skin. So for sky, we have ear. For Vayu, we have ear and skin. From Vayu, we get Agni, fire. Now, fire has a form. If you light a matchstick, it has a form. The flame of the fire is there. That means we are able to see. So it has got three qualities: to see, to touch, and it has a sound also. When the fire is burning, we can feel the sound. From Agni comes water. Jalasya rasoaham. He says, Krishna says, I am the taste in water. So there is a taste also element which gets added. So four elements get added. Taste, you can touch water. If you put it in a pot, it will form into a shape. And at the same time, it has sound. Water makes a sound. The river makes a sound. The ocean's waves make a sound. And at the end comes, from after water comes Prithvi, Mother Earth. And what is the quality of Mother Earth? She gives fragrance. When the first rain, water hits the Prithvi, the beautiful smell of Gandha, the beautiful fragrance of Mother Earth also comes. So all the five Indriyas are there. But why is Dasharatha speaking about all this? He's saying, my first sense, eye, has gone away. Seems like my first sense, one sense has gone away, and seems like my ears are not listening to the messages of Ramachandra. He is not addressing me. I am not even able to speak. Kausalya, why don't you touch me? Seems like this is the fifth sense that is going to go away from my body, because I think I am going to leave my body at any given point of time. Thinking about Ramchandra. At that time, he narrates the story of Shravana Kumara. He says, Kausalya, I want to tell you a story which I have never told you before. My, I'm, my last time has come. I am going to pass away. Kausalya says, don't speak such inauspicious things. He says, no, listen very carefully. Before marrying you, I was a young prince. And by the Sarayu river, many great animals used to come. And looking at that, I wanted to practice my archery. And I went crossing the Sarayu river. And always I used to cross and do hunting in the hunting grounds. At that time, I heard from far away as if an elephant was sucking water from the river, and it was sucking water from its trunk, and I could hear that sound. Vashishta had actually taught me the archery technique of Shabdavedi. That means hearing the sound, I can shoot an arrow and it will go and hit the target. I used this serpent like weapon and I shot it from my bow and it went and hit. I heard as if somebody had fallen, but at the same time, I heard a Brahmana Kumara, a young boy's voice shrieking out for his life. When I rushed and saw, I didn't see the elephant. I actually saw my arrow, which was the Shabdavedi, stuck in the heart of the Shravana Kumara with two bowls in his hand and a leaf, which he was collecting water for his blind parents who were thirsty enough for water. And at that time, I fell at his feet and asked for forgiveness. And I said, I am very sorry. Let me take you to Kokila Ben Hospital. Let me take you to Jaslok Hospital. Otherwise, you will go to Parlok Hospital. But Shravana Kumara said, no, no, Dasharatha. In fact, my parents are waiting for water. And if they don't get water, they will die. So leave my condition. I will leave this body. But you please serve my parents. They need water. He said, no, you are supposed to be protected. Your life is in danger. He said, I am just a simple subject matter in your kingdom. You are the king. King can punish. Why are you worrying? You don't worry. Just take this water and go and give it to my parents. So, with leaving the Shravana Kumara, seeing him die, I took the water, which was the dying wish of that man, that obedient boy. I went and gave the water. When my footsteps were heard, that blind man and the blind woman, who were the parents, who were carried in baskets by Shravana Kumara, they asked Shravana, have you come? Have you got the water for us? We are thirsty. I did not reply because I thought that my sound will give away who I am. But when I was giving the vessel of water, my fingertips touched the fingertip of the father of Shravana Kumara. And immediately when he touched, he dropped the vessel and he said, and he held my hand and he touched my fingers and he said, this is not the fingers of my young Brahmana boy who holds the sacred thread. But these are the fingers which seem like of a Kshatriya who holds a bow and an arrow. Tell me, where is my son? And who are you? I said, I am none other than King Dasharatha of the Kosala kingdom. Weepingly, I said, this is the water that he had sent to you, but unfortunately, I killed your son. Hearing at that great news, they could not, they rolled on the floor and they were crying and they cursed me that you, though you may marry, you will very difficultly obtain a son, but your death will be also caused because your son will be not with you. And seems like that day has come, Kausalya, and it is the time that I am going to pass away. Saying this, Dasharatha fell on the floor, unconscious. All the queens immediately came and they wanted to lift Dasharatha. There was no life, there was no motion, and it was declared by Vashishta that Dasharatha had passed away. There was grief already in Ayodhya. The grief went into a tumultuous nature. Now the king Dasharatha, whom they loved so much, had also passed away in grief of Lord Rama. Vashishta immediately said, now cremation duties have to start. So we have to mummify Dasharatha in oil and canvas. So please put him up and please send fastest horses to none other than Bharata and Shatrughna and call them home. And the messenger said, what message should I give Bharata? Vashishta said very sternly, just tell them the kingdom needs them now. Don't say any other word about Dasharatha or anything. The only message you have to give is that kingdom needs them now. Valmiki cuts the scene, takes us immediately to Ashwapati's house, which is there, the maternal kingdom. At that place, Bharata has a very bad dream. And he wakes up from the dream and wakes up Shatrughna and says, seems like, brother, I have had a very bad dream. Then Shatrughna asks, what dream did you have, Bharata? Why are you actually feeling so bad about it? He says, I had a dream where our father was completely naked. And not only naked, he had his entire hair cut down. He was doing a mundan. This is very inauspicious. See, this is very important for us to learn and listen to this. Many of us feel that for many medical reasons or many other reasons, when our parents are living, we completely shave off our head. This is not to be performed. In fact, you should keep some shikha at least at the back. One should not shave their head completely until something inauspicious has happened. Repeated shaving, okay, you went to Tirupati, then also you should keep a shikha. You should not completely shave the head. This is not Brahminical culture. This is not Vedic culture. Only when somebody loses their parents or loses their kith and kin, that's when they shave their head. So Bharata says, I saw our father completely shaven, naked, and he was jumping off the cliff. And while he was jumping off the cliff, he fell into an entire cow dung. Such was the very worst nightmare that I saw. Shatrughna says, don't worry. This might be just a nightmare. Nothing like this will happen, Bharata, because you know our brother Rama is there. Rama takes care of everything. And when Rama is there, inauspiciousness cannot happen. You know what Bharata says? Shatrughna, I know Rama is there. But in the same place, there is one more person in the house who is Kaikeyi, my mother. You do not know Shatrughna. Kaikeyi is there. Atmakama, Sadachandi, Pragyamalini. She's always the selfish one. Atmakama, selfish, supremely stubborn, angry, and she is the most scrupulous lady I have seen. Who is saying this? Her own son. Bharata knows Kaikeyi the most. Atmakama, Sadachandi, Pragyamalini, Krodhavrata. These are the qualities of Kaikeyi. So you don't know, but I think something great has happened. At that time, the messenger walks in and he says, "You are required in the kingdom." Bharata says, "Let's start immediately." Meanwhile, the scene cuts again, and the scene cuts, and both of them, Rama and Sita, because three scenes are going on here. One is the scene in the forest, one is the scene at the maternal kingdom of Ashwapati, and the other is the scene at Dasharatha's palace. So now the scene cuts back to none other than Rama's journey. Rama and Sita think about a very funny pastime, because it is generally said that when the Kathakar has to stop the lecture, he has to stop the lecture in a very good mood. So Dasharatha has passed out. This is not the great mood by which we should stop the lecture. So I would like to tell you a small hidden pastime, and with that we will stop the lecture. So Rama and Sita, when they were going towards the forest, it is the nature that when the king leaves for the forest, he should give charity. So Rama also gave plentiful amount of charity. After giving full charity, and everybody said, bus isse zyada hum nahi le sakte hain, I cannot take more than this, still Rama was left with 100 cows with him. This is all Valmiki says. Serious stone is going on in Ayodhya Kanda. Valmiki puts humor in between. So 100 cows are left with Rama. So Rama looks left, Rama looks right. Who is ready to take? Who has not got? Everybody says, we have got full cows, 1 lakh cows, 2 lakh cows you have given. We cannot take care of 100 more cows. Not possible. So there is one Brahmana whose name was Trijata. There was one Brahmana's name Trijata. There is another Trijata who will come in Sundarakanda, who is Vibhishana's daughter. Not mentioned directly by Valmiki, but by research we will get to know. So there is a Brahmana called as Trijata. So he came forward and he told Rama, I have not got anything. If you want to give me, you give me. Rama said, look, whatever you want, you can take. Take this danda. He gives a small stick and throw this danda in the air. Do a javelin throw. Wherever the javelin throw, the danda goes and falls, till that place, how many cows are there? That cows are yours. So imagine Mother Sita is also seeing what this Brahmana will do. The first thing, he takes the danda and he gives to Lakshmana. He says, hold this for a second. Lakshmana is surprised. What is this man going to do? Lakshmana holds the danda. First, he does a humkar on himself. Brahmana flexes his muscles. Then he adjusts his dhoti. He ties it up nicely. He takes his uttri and ties into a bandana. Mother Sita is looking and laughing. What is this Brahmana doing? Because he's going to throw a javelin throw which he has never thrown before. He's adjusting his dhoti, he's putting his bandana, everything is uttri, and finally he takes 4 steps behind and he's about to throw. Mother Lakshmi, that is Mother Sita, asks a question to Rama. Even if he gets all the 100 cows, does he have the house in Cheetah camp to hold these 100 cows? Rama says, it's not our responsibility. We are going to the forest. Let him manage what he wants to do. Let him take the 100 cows if he wants. Let us go. So, looking at that, the Brahmana throws the javelin throw, and wherever it falls from there, all the 100 cows are given to the Trijata. He is very happy. He also gives blessings to Rama and Sita. Taking those blessings, now they cross the river Ganges and they want to cross the river Ganges. So they remember their age old friend, who is none other than Guha, the prince of Nishadas, the king of Nishadas. Somebody goes and tells him the message. What happens next? Whether Guha came to help them? Who is Guha? What is his relationship with Ramachandra? How are they both connected? Are they real friends? How did he treat them? Did he actually attack Ramachandra? All these we will see tomorrow, where the pastimes will continue. Tomorrow we have only one lecture, that is in the evening. We will not have the morning lecture, so we have evening lecture. We will where we will see the continuation of this pastime of Ayodhya Kand. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for listening to these pastimes of Ayodhya Kand. If you have any questions, you can definitely ask now. or if there are no questions, or you can, if there are any comments or clarifications, those are also welcome. At the same time, if you are watching this on YouTube, please subscribe, and at the same time, if you have questions, please put down in the comment box. Whenever I get time, I can answer those questions for you. Mangala Shasana Parai Madacharya Purogamai Sarvai Acharyas Sarvai Purva Acharya Satkridaya Hastu Mangalam. Krishna Karotu Kalyanam Kamsajjara Kesari Kalindi Jalakolala Kolahela Kutahali Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Kapate Namaha Apatavataram Dadaram Sarvasampatam Lokavaramam Sriramam Bhuyo Bhuyo Namamyaham. Thank you very, very much. If there are any questions or comments or clarifications, we can discuss. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.